Welcome once more to Flashpoints. I'm Bob Orr. Joining me, Juan Zarate. He's our national security analyst. Juan, good to see you.
Bob, fantastic being with you.
The whole world has been watching this disappeared plane story. People are fascinated by this, and sadly, we still haven't found the plane and the people. But it's creating some real interesting questions about international cooperation from countries that are not necessarily friends.
That's right. And Bob, you've done incredible reporting on this, and so folks want to sort of go online and watch the best reporting from start to finish. They need to watch your reports on CBS. This is fascinating because the tension around the cooperation that's needed in this kind of an event comes as we've watched the geopolitical tension in Asia, and in particular Southeast Asia, with the rise of China and also the rise of India, and the jostling between countries as to who's going to influence and how they're going to relate to each other. And so some of the problems you've seen in Malaysia are inherent to Malaysia and their society and their inability to deal with a big case like this. But it also has to do with the inability of the countries in the region to cooperate as quickly and as fully as you would have wanted from day one.
Let me ask you this. A lot of countries have intelligence apparatus and equipment, satellites. A lot of people watching that quadrant of the world, among them the Chinese, the United States, others. It seems to me there are probably resources available that the investigators haven't tapped into. Why would a country be hesitant to share material that might be important?
Right. I think in the first instance you have countries maybe reticent to reveal capabilities to potential competitors, if not adversaries. And so there is much tension in Southeast Asia between countries. And keep in mind the classic and long-standing struggles between India and China, for example. Are they going to be cooperating, having their naval forces cooperate? Are they going to be sharing their satellite and space capabilities?
Chinese don't want the Indians to know exactly what they see or what they're able to do. Right?
That's exactly right. The Australians may not want others in Asia to quite know what their surveillance capabilities are, because maybe they're using that to collect information in Southeast Asia. And so, this creates some interesting dynamics when you start talking about the need to collaborate and demonstrate capability and to share information from perhaps sensitive sources, and where you also have militaries involved. Keep in mind you've got a lot of naval resources, and so it's an area of potential great cooperation. We've seen some of that, but it also creates some tension and some unease.
I mean, it seems harsh to phrase it this way, but it's almost as if that maybe finding the airplane, as important as that is, that might not be at the top of the priorities from a geopolitical standpoint for some of these countries. They want to help, but they don't want to give away the farm.
That's part of it, and I think also the tragedy and the fact that there doesn't seem to be a resolution to what happened has exacerbated the tensions. And so you've seen that between China and Malaysia, where the Chinese government has grown incredibly dissatisfied publicly and impatient with what's happened in Malaysia. And so not only are we talking about the sensitive issues that you've raised, but you also have the fact that the very tensions of the investigation, the lack of resolution, the apparent inability to coordinate has actually underscored some of the very tensions that we see in the region.
Also, as we wrap up here, I mean, there are basically three potential theories here. This could be a criminal act, which many investigators believe that's where it's going. It might be an airplane accident. It also could be a terrorist act. Let's talk just about that, because that's your bailiwick.
Yeah.
Does this fit anything that you've seen from a terrorist perspective?
Not really. This is an anomalous case. In part because you don't see any threads that tie to a terrorist actor or group. You don't see sort of motive or purpose that sort of seems rational in any way. If this had been taken over by a terrorist actor, they probably would have done their best and most dramatic damage taking it over right over Beijing and flying it into a building, or taking the Chinese citizens hostage. And so the sort of the modalities and methodology don't seem to match. And the fact that you just haven't heard or seen anything that matches either with prior methodologies or with current motives or intent with any group really suggests that this may have just been a one-off situation, a little bit akin to Egypt Air, which you covered quite extensively in 1999.
Which was a criminal act. Well, it's a frustrating story. It's awful for the families, of course, but investigators are frustrated too. Juan will watch that one as well.
Thank you, Bob. Yes.
Thanks for joining us, and thanks you for joining us on Flashpoints. I'm Bob Orr. I'll see you next time.